Financial confidence doesn't happen overnight. It's something that we have to earn from ourselves. I think kind of building a trust by making decisions that we feel good about, sticking to the promises that we make to ourselves when it comes to our finances, and really following through on the things that we want to hold ourselves accountable for when it comes to money. So, this week we're wrapping up our Money and Mindset Summer Series, and we're going to talk all about how we can really continue to build trust with ourselves through our money.
Welcome to the Female Finance Collective podcast, where we encourage women to have open and honest conversations about all things money.
I'm Jen, and I struggled for many years with debt and feeling financially overwhelmed, so I know how frustrating it can be.
And I'm Mary Lee. As a financial planner, I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of women who've transformed their financial lives.
Hey, I'm Sybil. I built my dream life traveling the world and creating financial freedom on a teacher's salary.
Let's start the money conversation.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this conversation because it's just been such a powerful summer talking about money and mindset because that's such an important element that often gets left out. I think we just don't. I know I need mindset work all the time, right? And so it's just been so great. And using that mindset work that you're doing and saying, I do trust myself. I can do this, right? And letting your decisions with your money be intentional. We talk a lot here on the podcast about conscious spending, right? And that's one way to be really intentional with your money. And when you're intentional with your money, what happens is you build trust in yourself in how you spend money, how you make money, how you invest money, right? And so it's like baby steps. We also talk a lot about like those baby steps every day, right? They add up. And so today's conversation is a really like a nice way to like put that all together and be like, I trust myself. Look what I've done. I trust myself. I'm making intentional decisions. So I'm excited about this conversation.
I agree. I think that I don't know that I ever really considered a lack of trust in myself in my past with finances, but when I look back, there definitely was. And maybe even still some today, right? Where I'm like, oh, I'm really tempted to purchase something, or I buy something and I'm like, even though I really wanted it and I enjoy that I purchased it, I'm like, did I really need to spend that money? You know what I mean? Like we still
Yeah.
can kind of like have
You,
that play.
mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that it's a process, just like trust with anybody is a process, right? Whether it's our money or building trust in a relationship or whatever, building that trust is a process. And so, just like you said, making those small choices every day, choosing to follow through with our commitments to ourselves, I think that is a huge piece of it because over time, the more right choices, I mean, right, I'm using air quotes here, the more right choices we make, the more choices that are aligning with what we want to be doing, then the more we're going to trust ourselves to continue to follow through with those decisions.
Yeah, we're going to make those right choices again, those good choices for you more subconsciously, right? It's just like how we use our money, how we think about our money, how we talk to ourselves about money. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she was struggling with this problem, and she was putting it out there to me because she knows that I've kind of struggled with that too. And I said to her, do you talk to yourself? Do you tell yourself it's going to be okay? Do you tell yourself I made a good decision? Do you tell yourself, this is money well spent? And she was like, no, do you? And I was like, yes, I talk to myself all the time. And I think that helps me build trust in myself, right? Because trust, like you said, it's not assumed. It doesn't just like happen overnight. You've got to build it. You've got to work on it. And you've got to, we talk about this too, is like when you do make a mistake, I think we have to reframe that and be like, okay, that one time I probably shouldn't have spent that money on that sweater. I didn't end up wearing it. That's okay, Sybil. Most of the time, 80% of the time, you're spending your money on the right things. Keep trusting yourself, keep going, right? And that kind of intentional mindset work really works well for me. And that comes along with tracking my expenses, having a budget, even if it's a loose budget for my categories, knowing how much I want to put into my savings and investments accounts, having those financial goals, right?
Right.
Those things make me build intentional trust with myself, and I can look back and I can see that growth, right? And so that's really huge, is kind of doing those, I guess, more tactical pieces along with the mindset work, and then looking back at it and celebrating it and reframing it and being like, I'm doing it and I want to do it because this is my dream, this is my goal, and I'm going to keep going. I say that a lot. I just keep going. So I have it right here on my stand, actually.
It's good. That's a very good reminder. It's strong and powerful. I think
Yeah.
that there are two very specific examples that come up for me when it comes to trusting myself with money. These are not as much of an issue for me now, but they were two big things that I struggled with before. So I want to share those in case anybody can connect with these like examples. So the first one was credit cards. So I've talked a million times on here about how I had credit card debt. And I would tell myself every month, I'm not going to use my credit card this month. I'm not going to use my credit card. I'm going to like just whatever happens, I'm going to only use the money that I have. And, some months I did that, but there are definitely months where I was like, I used it, right? I bought a plane ticket I didn't have the money saved for, or whatever it was. And so that I was breaking my trust with myself because I had put myself into this all or nothing situation. It wasn't like, this is the time it would be okay with me to use the credit card. It was like, I can't use it at all, period. And then anytime I did use it, then I was breaking the trust with myself, which was then making me feel worse about myself, making me feel worse about my ability to manage my money. And that, led to those things that I used to say to myself, which were negative, not positive, like you're talking about. And I was saying, like, I'm so stupid. I'm so terrible with money. I'll never figure this out, right? All those negative things. I think the other big one, and I'm guessing people can relate to this as well, was saving. So I would tell myself, I'm going to save every month. I'm going to transfer some money into my savings account, even if it was just a little amount. I was like committed to myself to like transfer this money. And then there would be a month where I wouldn't transfer it, or I would transfer money back, right? Take money out of savings. And that I was also breaking my own trust with that. And then it was again just leading me to feel terrible, like I was never going to get out of debt, I was never going to have any savings, right? It was this kind of like this all or nothing mindset that I was in. And so those were instances where I was just continuing to break that trust with myself, and I never looked back and went, well, let's focus on the good things. Let's look at the months you didn't use your credit card. Let's look at the months that you did transfer money. I only focused on the negative. And so I think a big piece of this is like focusing on the growth, looking at the things you are doing well, looking at the small progress that you're making, even if it's like you're like, oh my God, I'm saving $5 a month. At least you're building a habit of saving, right?
Yep.
So really trying to focus on the things that we are doing well and the ways we are establishing that trust, even if it's one small step at a time.
Yeah, because trust compounds just like money does.
That's right.
Right? That dollar a day into my robo advising account for 10 years is now $20,000, like that's really exciting. And for a long time it wasn't exciting, but I just kept doing it, and I built that habit of I just had an automatic withdrawal. And there it went every month. I didn't even feel it, 30 or 60. Right now I have it at $100 a month. I don't even feel it just because it's always been going out, and it always goes out the day after I get paid,
Mhm.
right? And even if you have a variable income like we do, you still probably know which days you get paid by, whoever, whatever the income is. And so just it's okay to be like this 100 goes on this day. But the automaticity is a huge way to help yourself trust yourself,
Mhm.
because you're setting that up. It just becomes a part of the month's budget. Of course, it's tracked in the budget as well, but I don't have to think about it. I don't have to put energy about to it. So that way, when I am on Amazon later tonight, I can make some intentional decisions because that $100 is already spent for my future self,
Mhm.
right? And so you're exactly right. I completely agree. Like the smallest things add up, and it's exactly the same with trust. The smallest things, the smallest positivity, the smallest celebrations, they add up, and we have this I can do it feeling, and that clarity and that mindset just really allows you to keep going and making good decisions for the now and the future, right? And that's what money's all about, right?
Right.
Like if we spent money in ways we didn't want to in the past, we had to think right now, what are we going to do to change that? And then how do we want to live right now? And then how do we want to live in the future? And if we can get our mindsets there and trust ourselves, oh my gosh, what a huge, huge difference that makes. And just talking about it like this, just listening to our podcast today is going to be so helpful for you, right? Because we're on a mission to just talk about money, people.
Right,
This
that's
is how
right.
we build trust with ourselves. We talk about it, we think about it, we reflect on it, right?
For sure. And one other thing I wanted to add, because I started to think about, I wonder if people, you said automaticity, and it got me thinking about payments. So
Hmm.
if you're having a trust issue with yourself about paying bills on time, that is one way to really work on that. Almost every company will allow you to automate your payment.
Yep, so
And
true.
if you take time to get those set up, you can start to build trust with yourself of like, I'm not going to pay my bills late. I'm not going to have these late fees. I'm going, and that is even if it's just one bill that maybe it makes you nervous, or maybe you're worried about money or what the income or whatever it is, just take one step to automate something to help build that trust, because you're like, every single month I'm paying this bill on time, it doesn't matter. And that's your one thing, right? Where we can just really start to use these tricks to establish trust. It's not all on us. I mean, we're the ones setting up the automated payment, right? But we can use other resources to help us with this trust. We
For sure.
can use those automated payments and automated transfers into savings. We can use other people to ask for advice, ask for opinions. Hey, every month on the 15th, can you shoot me a text and make sure that I've done, whatever it is that you really want to do? So utilize those resources as well. It doesn't have to just be you. It can be other tools that help you start to establish that trust and that, kind of good feelings around yourself when it comes to finances.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So, our action step for you this week is to honor your progress. Okay. What is something, think about something that you did well with money and that you want to carry forward into the future. So, do a little bit of reflection in the past, what went well with your money, and then how do you want to carry that forward into the future? And this will help you begin to build your trust with yourself and how you're spending money, making money, saving money, and investing money. Okay. So that's your task. Let us know how it goes below, or on socials. You'll find us everywhere. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.